Good morning and welcome into Sports Talk on a Budget. Have a special show for you today. It is Sunday, June 2nd, year of our Lord 2024. Special total finals preview, as you can see on the right to me here. I have my friend here that did the playoff preview with us last year for the 2023 playoffs. Now we're going to do the finals preview together. I have my friend Justin from Southern California. How you doing today, man?
Doing great, man. Glad to be here.
You ready to get into this? Like, how you
Ready.
feeling? All
I'm
right.
I'm ready.
Okay. So just to kind of break it down, I want to start just looking back at the playoffs. It's been a pretty good run so far in the playoffs. I feel like it's funny. It's kind of like the new age. Like Steph didn't make the playoffs. LeBron
Yeah.
went out in the first round.
Yeah.
KD got
KD
swept in
went
the
out.
first round.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of got your new wave of stars like Ant and Luca and Jokic made it to
Yeah.
the second round. But I feel like it's been different, but I think it's been a good run so far. I feel like there's been good series, good games. What's kind of been your favorite
Couple
moment
of
so
couple of
far?
game sevens. Yeah, I mean there've been a ton of good series. I mean, I think there was also a lot of surprises. Like I don't think anyone saw the Suns getting swept.
Same.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
agreed.
Like I think that was a big surprise. I think Clippers doing as little as they did. I mean, obviously I think Kawhi wasn't playing, but what else is new?
Classic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that
the
guy,
postseason's
man.
been pretty good. I mean, obviously, like for me and others in SoCal, like yeah, the Lakers losing to the Nuggets again is not
Yeah,
ideal. But yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed them. It's been cool to see new teams and new players for sure.
yeah, yeah. And I think like it's weird with the NBA. Like I feel like they're still trying to hold on to like LeBron and Steph and KD. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, maybe we need to embrace some of these younger players. Like, I mean, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, he's a great player. We didn't
Oh
really hear
yeah.
much of him until, and then
Yeah.
everybody's all over Ant, and it's like, okay, if you just watch the regular season, you know this guy's a beast. Like, when people are
Yeah.
like, oh
Right.
man, where's this guy been? It's like he's
Like
been
right,
around.
right in front of you. So yeah, he's been around.
Yeah. And then it's like it's funny, like Tatum's like 25, 26, but he feels like an older player now. And it's like
Yeah.
he's been there so many times.
When everyone says he's 19.
I feel like he's been 19 for 6 years. It's
It does
that
feel like that.
yeah, that first year when he dunked on LeBron in the conference finals. I feel like he's been stuck at that age, but
Yeah,
he's been
he's stuck.
married,
He's
had
been
had a
stuck there ever
kid
since. Yeah,
ever since.
right.
But but yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed this playoffs. Like obviously, I love Steph, and I'm not a big LeBron guy, but obviously he's the all time great. And KD and the Suns, I thought they'd at least win one game against Minnesota in the first round, but I didn't see them getting swept. But it's been cool to see, and even like the Nuggets getting knocked out in the second round, it was cool to see like another team do that. And that series was probably my favorite so far.
It,
Was
it was it
Minnesota
was
and
insane.
Denver
I think that game seven was wild.
was why like they're down 20. I think I changed the channel. I think I turned it off for a little bit, but like kept checking on my phone. But
Yeah,
they were down 20 in like the at halftime, and in the third quarter, I
yeah.
was like, yeah, this is a wrap. Like you're on the road in Denver. Jokic was playing well. Murray was playing well. I was like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
it. But no, they turned it. That was
I
impressive. I was impressed by that.
yeah, I remember saying to myself or whoever I was with, I was like, dude, if they come back from this, like that will be one of the most insane postseason comebacks, especially in a game
For
seven
sure.
in
Yeah,
Denver
exactly. On the road.
on the road.
Yeah.
But
You know
how
what's
have you liked the Eastern Conference playoffs for you and the Celtics?
the cakewalk that they've been on? Oh
Right,
shit.
right.
Yeah. And it's like, well, and a lot of people are like, well, there was no Giannis, but Giannis, I mean, Giannis is hurt quite a bit, and he was missing throughout the season. And like, oh, no Embiid is like, well, no Embiid played all 6 games against New York. I think he missed some time in like game 2 or something, but he was there in that game, and they still lost to New York. But yeah, it's been. I mean, obviously, Celtics have been fortunate. I think they still would have been in the finals even if like Jimmy Butler's there, Donovan Mitchell plays all 5 games, and Halliburton doesn't get hurt. The only
Yeah,
thing I'm worried about is they're gonna have to step up in competition because I mean
yeah,
Dallas is a lot better than anybody they've seen yet. So I'm a little
sure.
worried about that because Celtics tend to kind of play down to their opponents a little bit. Like I
Hmm.
feel like it was funny just to kind of get to the conference finals a little bit, watching them play Indiana. Like I never thought like game 3 and 4, game 1 they got super lucky and they probably shouldn't have won that game. Like
Yeah,
Indiana just kind of choked it away. But game 3 and 4, they'd be down like double digits, and the whole time I'm like, all right, well, if they're within 5 within the last couple of minutes, they'll probably win the game. And I felt like they kind of just messed around, and like once it got down to crunch time, they're like, okay, we're the better team. We'll just take over. But
Yeah.
I don't think you could do that against Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing too with Luca and Kyrie because like I mean they both are just they're incredible players. They can get their own shot and when it comes down to times like that, in the clutch, like they both can be that guy.
Exactly. Yeah, and when Halliburton goes out, they don't have a guy. Indiana didn't have that guy, and you could tell. I mean, they were
Oh
terrible
yeah.
down the stretch. And even
Oh yeah, they
Halliburton's,
were.
yeah, he's no Luca or Kyrie. Like even if he was there, he's not a clutch guy. He's a good player, but he's not Luca or Kyrie. So I think they'll have to step up in play. I think they're ready for the challenge, but I don't know. It's funny watching them. Like I've never had a team like just aggravate you so much because it's like they have such a good talent, but you're just like, fuck, man, just get out there and play.
Yeah,
It's
close
like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, just
It,
close the game out. Yeah,
it's funny just like to see a lot of Celtics fans in the comments of posts on Instagram or just people in real life and they just always talk about how they always choke or that it's like really frustrating. It's funny to watch or funny to hear rather.
yeah. Well, like so. I'm kind of used to that as a Boston sports fan. Like they can win a lot, but they don't ever make it easy. They always
Right.
like you're down 28-3
You
and
always
come back,
gotta
or
got to
there's
make it
always gotta.
interesting, right?
Yeah, I've always said that like I've lost like 10 years. I'll probably die like 10 years early just being a Boston sports fan with all the like heartache and shit they've put me through. So it's like, yeah. So I'm used to it, but yeah, I would like it. I don't think it'll be an easy finals. Some people are saying in five. I don't see that, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But
Sure.
just kind of want to look at the Western Conference side. So obviously we had Mavs, Timberwolves. I thought going into that series, especially since the Timberwolves just beat the defending champions, I thought they were the favorites in that, but same kind of storyline. Those were close games, but Minnesota in the clutch just was not good. And I don't
Yeah, I mean, I thought so too, honestly. I thought the Timberwolves probably would win that just because of how they were playing. I mean, but you would see in games like they would go like stretches of just like where they wouldn't score.
right,
Like three
right,
to 5 minutes without scoring. It's like you're not gonna
yeah,
win.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, and it's like I feel like that's been like the way Cat played in most of the series has kind of been
yeah,
like his career, and like
right.
because it's like he's got so much. He's so like he's 7 foot. He can shoot threes well. He moves well. He's got a good handle. And you're like, okay, well, I mean, you put all that together, and this guy should dominate the league. And you just are just like, he's good, but he's not great. And so I think that kind of showed up in this series too. We're just like I don't know what it is with this guy. He has the skills to be like he's a better version of Lamar Odom, maybe, where Lamar Odom had like all the skills to be great, but it's like he just wasn't. So I don't
Yeah,
know if it's the same way with Cat, but and I think Ant will get better. I mean, he's only 22, which is nuts, but
yeah,
I
and
thought
he's
they, yeah,
yeah.
I thought they could have played a lot better down the stretch. They may
I
need
I
another
think I
scorer.
think too that like I don't know, man. I just feel like with Rudy, I feel like he really didn't hold up his end, bro. I mean, come
Right,
on, four-time Defensive Player of the Year, and
right,
we're just out there getting exposed.
right. I think I saw that the other day. Yeah, he's like the fourth guy in history to win 3 or more defensive players of the year, and it's like I don't.
I
He
mean,
got
I don't
like
know, dude. I just feel like if your competition or like the group of guys you're playing against isn't like, oh crap, who's guarding me?
right.
Like, I mean, Luca wasn't worried about him.
No,
And
they
and also too okay, fine if he's a little bit weaker on defense against certain players, but then like it's not like he was imposing his will on offense. It's not like he was like
hell
getting
no.
anything going. I mean, the last game they played, I think he had 9 points.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's like if you're the 4-time defensive player of the year and they're literally putting you in pick and rolls and that's like their most
Right.
successful, efficient offense, it's like, what? I don't know, man. Like, I thought like Wemby had a good chance to win it, or maybe even AD. I don't think like I think they just held Wemby's team. I mean, you can't. I don't. I guess they couldn't give the defensive player of the year to a guy whose team won 22 games. But even like AD, other guys, but Drew Holiday and shit like that. But it's
I
like
mean, yeah, I
I
was
don't know.
I, I was surprised he won it, to be honest. I mean, not like I'm. mad that AD didn't win it because I'm a Lakers fan, but it's like
Right.
I feel like I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah.
he's too easy to expose sometimes.
Yeah. When I even in like the Denver series, like I feel like Jokic kind of had his way with him, and it's like this is what you're supposed to be
Absolutely.
good at is guarding another. I know Jokic is like really hard to guard because he just, I don't know, he's just very skilled, and then he can shoot from any angle, so he's hard to guard. But I mean, shit, like Cat was better on Jokic most games, and I don't know with Gobert. I mean, it's funny that he used to be in Utah here, so people in Utah here are a little like mixed about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because
Well,
he kind
well,
of started COVID, so
right in the league, right? Yeah, he
in the
definitely
league.
did.
But like
Dude,
he like,
yeah.
well, and it's funny. So like, apparently he's one of the most like hated guys in the league. Like nobody likes him outside of like his teammates, and even his teammates, like him and Mitchell, didn't get along here. I guess was like the
Yeah, I do
story
remember that.
people have. So, but yeah, I don't know what it is, but to win 4 defensive players a year, and you're literally like the tactic of their offense. Oh, let's get him on Luca or let's get him on Kyrie, and it's a done deal. And it's not like they're like
Yeah.
dribbling past you and blowing by you. They're shooting over you. They're just crossing you up.
Yeah, yeah, he can't like keep up with a
Yeah.
guy who's a little quicker than him. Like you'll see he just gets blown by sometimes or like
Yeah.
even with Jokic, bro, like he's just too big for him.
Yeah. Yep.
Like he would just back post him up or just dribble around him. I mean, it's just funny to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't realize he was so not like that. That's funny.
Well, that's the story. Obviously, I don't know, but that's just the story around the league. Is what is like what I've seen people say.
Yeah.
Is like people don't like him, and then you saw like Luca knocks that three down and start you
Oh
fucking
yeah,
bitch, you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
guard me. It's like damn, and
All
people go
right.
at him too.
Tell
So
me how you
yeah,
really feel.
right. But I mean, he's not wrong. He's putting you in the pick and roll the whole series, and you're just getting roasted. It's like shit.
Yeah, dude, he spent the whole series getting exposed.
He did, and like you said, I mean, I was thinking that I was thinking that against Denver. It's like this is the 4-time defensive player of the year. I think he's won 3 of the last 5. It's like
That's
this is the 4-time
crazy,
defensive player of
dude.
the year. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
insane.
yeah. Because like I think one of the other ones was like Ben Wallace or something like that, and Ben Wallace was legit. I mean, he played well, and he was undersized too. Where like Gobert's like 7'3". Ben
Yeah,
Wallace was like 6'9", playing against Shaq and people like that,
yeah,
and holding his own.
yeah,
So, but
yeah. No, really
yeah,
comparable.
yeah. Conference finals. I thought the East was going to be what it was, maybe 5. I took the Celtics at 5. I thought maybe Indiana would get 1 at home. I think they were undefeated home throughout the playoffs until the conference finals. But yeah, I didn't see the series in the West going 5 games, and that shocked me. I
Really.
thought that was going to be a 6-7 game series,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know. I mean, you going back to the Mavericks. I mean, we've talked back and forth, and you know how I feel about Kyrie in the past.
Yeah,
But I got to give him props. Like it seems like he's matured a lot. He's like the veteran on that team. He's playing really well. So I got to
yeah.
give him
He's
props.
he's he's really stepped up as a leader and a guy that the role players and younger guys could turn to. And
Right.
I mean, he's playing well, dude. And I mean, I
He
think
is.
I don't know if there's a stat on. I'm sure there is, but dude, if Kyrie and Luca are both scoring 30, you're probably not winning.
Yeah. Exactly. No, you're not.
Yeah.
And that's
So
what I'm afraid of. But like to move to the finals and just kind of look at that matchup, I think like what's different is like I think we could throw like the Celtics could throw Derek White and Drew Holiday at Kyrie and to slow him down, and then Tatum and Brown are both solid defenders, I think, and they're
yeah,
long and tall, so I think they'll do well on Luca. So as long as they can hold them to maybe in the 20s, or let Luca go off, but you hold down Kyrie and the other players. But I think
yeah.
the
That
matchup's
that
very
yeah.
good.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Try to shut one of them down, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, they're both going. It kind of galvanizes the team, so that's another
yeah,
factor. But yeah, if Porzingis is back too, like that's
that's
big for
huge.
you guys.
That's huge. Yeah, because I mean he's just obviously another big man. I mean Horford's played great these playoffs, but the Mavs have those two big guys down low with Lively. What's the other one? It's fuck. I can't remember his name.
Gafford.
Gafford. There
Um,
we go.
it sucks you guys had to get rid of Robert Williams, bro. That guy was legit for
He
you
was,
guys.
but he just missed too many. I mean, I think he played like 15 games this year for Portland, so he just missed too many
Really?
games. Yeah, he was
Damn.
just always hurt. And I think like with Porzingis, you get a much better offensive game. Like Williams is a
Oh
better
yeah.
defender, but
Yeah.
Porzingis you get a better offensive game, and like they still have a good, and it worked out really well. I mean, Drew Holiday has been
Yeah.
really good for them. I mean, his shit,
He's
he
huge.
closed out like the last two. He closed out then game 3 against the Pacers when he had that
Mm-hmm.
steal, and then he gets
Mm-hmm.
fouled and knocks down the 2 threes, like
Yep.
two free throws. He closed it out, and I think he's a guy that's going to be on Kyrie probably more.
Oh
He
yeah,
might be a
that's
little
for sure.
too short to put on Luca, but I mean, maybe for a couple possessions. But yeah, I think
Yeah, if he
he's
gets switched on, I mean, he'd do all right.
yeah, and I mean, because Marcus Smart was that guy for us in the past, but Marcus Smart's a great defender, but he would just make so many bonehead plays, or just like where you jack up a 3 and it's like early in the shot clock and they're up like 2. It's like, what are we doing, man?
What are we doing?
And he just, it's like,
Right.
dude, you're not a 3-point shooter. We don't need to take a 3. It's like move the ball around. But that's another thing, like with the Celtics, like they shoot so many damn threes, man. It's crazy.
Really?
Like Brown will go to the lane and he'll give up like a contested layup to throw it out to a contested 3. It's just like, I guess that's just their game, and they all can knock them down. And I mean, even Horford can knock them down. They all knock them down pretty
Oh
well.
yeah.
But it's like, damn,
Yeah.
how if they when they're cold, and it's like fuck, they're in first. So hopefully they don't have one of those games in the finals. But like I said, I think it's a good matchup for on both sides.
Yeah.
I think both teams are big on underneath. Like we'll probably bring. I think Horford comes off the bench now, or maybe Porzingis comes off the bench maybe for the first game, just to kind of bring him in slowly a little bit. But
Yeah. I mean, and you guys won the season series 2-0. I mean, how does that make you feel confidence wise? You guys got home court.
so the
It should
first
be
game,
be interesting.
yeah, the first game was before the trade deadline, so that's
That
before they
okay.
got like some of the, like PJ
Summer.
Washington and other guys, and I think
Yeah, that's
Gafford as
true.
well. But
Yeah,
the second
Gafford was
game
with
they
me.
ended up beating them by like 20 something, and that was their full team. So,
Oh, well,
but that was
okay.
also back in like late March. Yeah. So, but it was also back in late March. I mean, I feel like they're playing a lot better right now. But yeah, there's just some matchups that they can't handle. Like defensively, I think there's some mismatches for the Celtics that they can expose, because you have 4 or 5 guys that can all score, and outside
Yeah,
of White,
exactly.
they can all score. They can all create their own shots. So
Exactly.
I think
Yeah.
it'll be tough for Dallas there.
Hmm.
I think Dallas is just gonna have to. They're just gonna have to score. I think their defense will do well enough, but I think they're just gonna have to try to outscore, obviously, if the
Yeah.
Celtics, and just beat them up on offense. But I don't know with the Celtics. I think they should win the finals, and that's obviously who I'm picking.
Well,
Of
they had
course,
a
who
da-
I'm
they had
rooting
a damn
for.
good season, so
64 wins, and they kind of took the foot off the pedal like the last 2 weeks. They probably could have won close to 70 if they wanted to. But I
yeah.
think they sat Brown and Tatum for like the last 3 or 4 games. Sat Porzingis, of course, because I love Porzingis, but he's like AD, man. He's just made of glass. So hopefully
Oh
he's around for
no.
the whole series. It's like shit. And so I think they bring him back slowly, but I think they need him for the whole series to win. He just creates such a big mismatch for like any team. I mean, 7'4", but he can shoot the 3 and he moves around pretty well when he's healthy. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
mean they've
mean,
had. Yeah.
I was just gonna say the games that I've watched the Celtics play, if it was on, a nationally televised game and Porzingis was playing, like I remember even texting you, I think I'm like, dude, Porzingis was the right choice. Like
Dude,
he
he
just
was.
opens it up for you guys.
He does. Well, and it's like what he does so well too, and it's like what I think they should try to do more is like because he stays on the 3-point line every now and then, so he
Yeah.
brings out one of their bigs. So I wish that Tatum and like Brown would slash more and go to the basket, because now it's more free when he's out of the way. But I don't know, they like to play it around the 3-point line, but they all shoot a good percentage. Brown's gotten better. Even Drew Holiday shoots pretty decent from 3.
Yeah,
Tatum's been kind of
seven
streaky.
Celtics made over 100 threes this season. That's
Yeah,
insane.
insane. Yeah.
That's
Well, they averaged
unreal.
like I think they average like 37 attempts a game, which is unbelievable.
Oof.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
then
and
the
I think
number
it's
makes sense.
yeah. Well, I think they shoot the most and they make the second most is what the stat I saw. So it's like, okay, at least if you're shooting the most, you have to kind of hopefully you make a decent amount. So their percentage is the second best. So, but I think I don't know, but you're leaning a little towards Dallas, or what are you thinking there?
Oh, are we giving our predictions?
No, just still kind of more analysis here, but like what, like if
I
you were
mean,
Dallas, how would you play it basically?
I think they should play it the exact same way they played it against the Wolves.
Right.
Um, just running a lot through Kyrie and Luca, obviously, but like, dude, Gafford is insane. Gafford and Lively have been like very surprisingly good in the playoffs. I always knew
Yeah, I
Gafford was
feel
good when he was in Washington, and I
right.
was like, dude, if he got picked up by a good team, like he could be a good
Nice. Yeah.
piece. Um, so I don't know how they would do in terms of like playing down low because I don't know how tall Gafford and Lively are, but if they can play how
I
they
think
did
they're
against the
yeah.
Wolves bigs, then I mean
Right.
that's probably what I would try and implement something like that, especially because the Wolves have like three very interchangeable and good centers.
Right.
And I think Lively like shot like 16 for 16 the last series. I mean,
Well, I
every
think they're
shot from
all
like
alley
two
oops.
feet. Yeah, he's
I think
shooting
they're
for everything
mostly
from in two
lobs.
feet. But
Yeah.
if he can try and
Well,
replicate something like that, then
yeah.
that would really help them. Um,
Right.
I mean, I did want to ask. Yeah, so I just wanted to get a Boston fan's perspective on how the reception for Kyrie will be coming back to Boston in the finals.
Yeah, I think it'll be better than it has been. Like when he went to Brooklyn, it was pretty rough. And then when he did like the whole like stepped on the logo thing and dragged his
Oh
foot, it was
yeah,
like, yeah. I think it'll be better this time. It's still going to be rough. I mean, like Boston fans will never forget about anything. And
right,
so, yeah,
right.
I think the first game, probably every time he touches the ball, he'll get booed, and I'm sure he'll hear everything, anything,
Yeah,
everything that you can imagine for the
yeah,
first game or two. But I think it'll be
right.
a little bit better than it's been in the past. And he kind of downplayed it. He didn't really talk any trash for like the last couple of times when they go into those series against Brooklyn. He's talking trash. So yeah, I think it'll
Yeah,
be. I don't think it'll be rough, but not as rough as it could be. Unless he starts chirping, and then it's going to be real rough on him. But I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see, and I think they'll be tough on Luca a little bit too, but Luca seems to feed off of that, so hopefully they don't go too hard
He
because I think
really
that could
does,
work against
dude.
them.
He really does.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully they don't go too hard on Luca. I think it'll be more on Kyrie, but you never know with Boston fans. I mean, they're just they're tough. They're rough on people. I mean,
Rough.
they're rough. They still give anybody you can think of that played there that left in a bad way. I mean, they're always going to give LeBron shit until he retires. That's always going to be a thing. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to see if it affects him because it definitely affected him when he was in Brooklyn. He would get into it, and he started to affect his game a little bit. So I'm hoping that's the case, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this new age Kyrie finally matured in like his mid 30s or whatever.
Hmm.
Maybe he's able to kind of you know tune it out and play better than he has in the past because it's definitely affected him in the past. But I mean, you're in the finals, so hopefully he can kind of just tune it out. But it'll be rough. It'll be rough, and it'll be interesting to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you're excited. I wish you could go to one of those games, dude.
Yeah, I don't have $1,500 to drop or whatever, or two
Right.
grand
Yeah.
just to drop on a ticket, and then another 500 just to get there on a flight. So now I'll enjoy my view from my couch. It'll be probably better than I could get in the stadium. Just I mean the atmosphere would be unbelievable, but yeah,
Right.
it'd be sweet to go there if I could get like hooked up with something. But yeah, that's not gonna happen. But it'll be cool either way. Be nice if they could finally win one. I mean, they've really only won one since the '80s, and that was in '08. And then I feel like this team's knocked on the door forever. They were in the
Yeah,
conference
it
finals,
was
like
crazy when they played the Warriors. I
yeah,
I mean, I think we talked about this too back not on air, but
right,
I remember saying like I feel like Boston's the better team, but it's so hard to bet against Steph.
yeah. And that's exactly what happened. It was like Boston was the better team, but Steph just took over games. It's like, all right,
He
well,
was
yeah,
unreal.
that's all that matters.
Yeah. But yeah,
And
they've
Wiggins
definitely
played
been
out of
knocking
his
on the door.
mind that series. Yeah, they've been knocking on the door. Yeah, and I feel like if they don't do it this year, I don't know if they will because this is definitely the easiest path they've ever had. And then I mean, the Mavericks are. I wouldn't say they were as good as the Warriors were, but they have
Right.
that guy just like the Warriors did. Warriors had Steph, and that was the difference. Mavericks have Luca, and so will that be the difference? I think the Celtics team's deeper and better. Like I think Drew
Mhm.
Holiday and Porzingis are better than Smart and Williams, especially on the
Yeah.
offensive side. So I
Yeah.
think this team's better. But it's funny, like they have so many good players, and sometimes it's a good thing, but sometimes it feels like it's a bad thing because like none of them want to take over in the clutch. Like when the
Yeah,
clutch moments
actually, yeah.
happen, yeah, it's like is
They're
it going
just
to be
like
Tatum?
passing
Is
it
it going to
around.
be Brown? Yeah,
Yeah.
just passing it around. And I feel like I feel like people just like to hate on Tatum. Like I feel like, but he needs to win this one because everybody like this is like a second or third first team All NBA. So
Mhm.
that's like the next step, and people are like, well, he's no Luca and he's no Ant, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. I think he's still a better player than Anthony
He's no
Edwards,
ant.
but
Wow.
yeah. So I think Ant has one good playoff run, and they beat the Nuggets and whatever was left of the Suns, and then get beat in
Right.
five. So I thought that was a little premature, and then like the whole Ant, Kobe, and Jordan comparisons, like let's pump the brakes a little bit there.
Right.
It's a
You don't like those
little soon for
comparisons?
that. Well, I mean, you're gonna compare him to two of the top 10 players of all time. He's 22 years old. It's like he took him pretty well. Like for to his credit, he did it pretty well. It was like Kobe and Jordan. It's like shit. Like really, we're gonna be. I see your Kobe poster behind you. Is like really gonna be doing this.
Right,
Like
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
maybe we could compare maybe Dwayne Wade, but even then that'd be rough. I think let's just let him be himself, and that's
Just let him
also what
be Anthony
I
Edwards.
yeah, I hate those conversations, to be honest with you. The whole comparisons.
Sure.
It's like these generations are so different. Like the game's not played. The game today is not played how it was when I was a kid. Like
Yeah.
in the early in like the 2000s, even in the early 2010s. And then if you're
Yeah, it
gonna
was
compare them to
totally
like the
different.
night, totally different game. Like when we grew up and it was Kobe and Shaq and Duncan and like Dirk Nowitzki, totally different game than what it is now.
Totally different
Totally different
game.
game.
So much more.
So
I mean, just there's so many things that are different. But yeah, I don't really like those comparisons either. I mean, um, yeah, just let the new players be them. Like,
just let them be themselves. But to kind of get back to the finals a little bit. So I like the Celtics. I'm gonna go in six. I know six would be on the road in Dallas, but I feel like the matchups are there, the size,
mhm.
the defense that they can play, and they could throw. Like I think Luka's gonna get Tatum sometimes. He's gonna get Brown sometimes. He's gonna get Holiday sometimes, and then Kyrie is gonna get Derek White. He's gonna get Holiday, maybe even Brown as well. So
Yeah,
I think they can just kind of throw different defenders at them and kind of get them off their game a little bit. And then yeah, Porzingis. If Porzingis can come back and just give us, because he's been, I think he could have played in Game 4 in the Eastern Conference Finals, but it was like, why throw him out there to
yeah.
potentially get
They didn't really
injured
need him
when?
to finish them
Yeah,
off.
yeah. I think if they would have went to a Game 5, he may have played, or maybe if they won two in a row and it went to a Game 6, he probably would have played. But I
Yeah.
think yeah, he makes a big difference because Lively and Gafford, their last series they played. I mean, you have a guy in Gobert who's basically like no offense,
Yeah.
and
I
then
mean, yeah,
like
that
just
was
no
such
offense.
a huge
Yeah,
criticism of him. I mean, honestly, think like when was the last time he scored 20?
it's a great question. I'm sure he
I
probably
mean,
did a couple of times this year, but I don't
I'm sure
remember
he
it.
did. I'm sure,
Yeah,
but like throughout this whole postseason for the Wolves, like it was mainly Cat and Ant. Like
right.
that
Yeah,
was their bread and butter. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
And even Cat's so like streaky. Like when he's on, he's like that Game 4, he was great. But
oh,
then
I
when
know.
he's
I
off,
was
it's
losing
just
my
like
mind
shit.
at that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. Where I think like Porzingis, obviously like Horford's not a great offensive player, but I mean, shit, he's been knocking down threes. I think Game 3 he had like 7 threes. So I think
jeez. I know he can hit
it's
them,
gonna
but
be
damn, I don't know he had seven.
yeah. I think he had 6 or 7 threes in that game,
And
and
so,
it's
where do
just
you
a
think Brown
tougher.
fits into the equation?
See, that's the thing too. I think that's the thing that's tough about the Celtics. It's like they can come at you in so many different ways, and it's so different from Minnesota, where it's like, okay, if Ant and Cat aren't scoring, then you probably win the game. Like if one of those two guys have an off night, you can win the game. But I I mean, there's been games in this playoffs where Tatum's been bad and they've won by 20, or Brown's been just okay and they've still won by double digits. So, and then Holiday will have a stretch where he scores. Derek White, I think, was the second leading scorer in the first round against Miami. So, and then
Wow.
obviously with Porzingis, and then if Horford can stretch the floor a little bit, they just come at you in so many different ways. And so I think if they can play that way where you distribute it and then someone take over in the clutch, whether it's Tatum or Brown. But I think it's such a different style, because I think Dallas first round, you played the Clippers. It was like Kawhi was there on and off, but it was mostly like Paul George and James Harden.
Yeah.
Second
Yeah.
round, you play Oklahoma City. It was mostly Shea. Like Shea was most of their offense in that series.
Hmm.
And then like Chet still got to develop, and he just got to develop more of an offensive game. And they didn't have another offensive scorer other than Shea. And then the third round, it was Ant and Cat, and Ant didn't play well in the first couple of games. Cat didn't play well. So, but now you're playing a team who can have legit 5 people score 20. Almost any
Yeah.
night. 4 probably. I don't know if we throw in 5 people, and then maybe even 6 if you throw in Horford. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think it's just the firepower is there. I think it's all just up to Boston if they're willing, if they can, seize the moment, because I think they're the better team, but they just
Yeah.
don't always play like that.
Yeah.
Like they were the far better team than all 3 teams that they played in the first 3 rounds, and there was games where it's like, why is this a close game? Like why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are we not like? And then they'd pull away in the end. But this Indiana series, it's like shit. They could have been down 3-1 very easily.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, dude, Indiana dude, they choked at least 2 or 3 games. I mean, that
Yeah,
series could have went on way more than 4 games.
yeah, for sure. And it's like you play like that against Dallas, you're gonna lose in 5 probably. You maybe steal a game there, but you're gonna lose in 5. Like you can't. And I know that they won't. And I feel like they've kind
Right.
of they've played down to their opponents, and they'll be able to step up to the next level. And I mean, they've had like a week and a half off by the time the
Yeah.
first game is.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, so they'll be fresh, and Porzingis should be fresh. He's been practicing every day pretty much since the series ended against Indiana. So I think they'll be ready to go. But there's just those stretches where it's like, okay, what are we doing here? If you do that against Dallas, you could be down 15, and you're like,
Yeah, and I
okay,
mean, I
well,
think you did make a good point too about like who they've played and who they've played until like getting here, and like they definitely haven't gone up against a Luka, a Kyrie. So
no,
I mean, it's not like they haven't played against them before, but I mean, this is the finals,
right.
so
It's a totally different, yeah, and it's like,
yeah,
yeah, Kyrie seems to be different than he's been since basically Cleveland. This is the best I've seen him play consistently for this long since
I
he was
know
with
he's
LeBron in
been,
Cleveland.
dude, he's been just on one. I mean, I have people text me all the time like about Kyrie about just how he's playing if I'm not watching the game, and I'm just like, I turn it on or I see the highlights, and I'm just like, damn. I mean,
Yeah,
he's like seriously stepped it up. I mean, him and Luca together, initially people are like, "Oh, can that work?" Like, I don't know. And then last season it, more or less didn't. No one thought he would re-sign. He re-signed, and they're in the finals now. So,
right,
yeah, I do think you're right
exactly.
about maybe a little bit more maturity. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I wonder how it'll be against
yeah.
like, star comparisons with Brown and Tatum and Luca and Kyrie.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and I'll give credit to Jason Kidd. Like he's done a good job with them. I didn't think he was a great coach. Like he's
Right.
bounced around. He was in Milwaukee, and then I think he was
In
Brooklyn originally,
LA.
right, or L.A.
Well, he was in
But
LA as an assistant, but
as
yeah,
an
you're
assistant,
right.
yeah.
Brooklyn and Milwaukee, yeah.
And I just thought, like, okay, like he was a guy that everybody thought would be a good coach because he was a good point guard. So that's like
Yeah.
the position that transfers the best. But I'll give him credit, like Kyrie is a tough person to keep focused, and I mean Luka's he's a young player. He's been the best player on like every team he's played on since he was like 18 years old or 17
Yeah.
years old. So
Yeah.
yeah, and like Luka's great. I don't. What bothers me about Luka is I feel like anytime he doesn't make a shot, he's looking at the ref to see if he got fouled. Like he's always whining, and it drives me insane.
I
But
remember us talking about this. Yeah, I
yeah, like
remember.
he's a good player, man. But it's like, bro, like shut up and play your game.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like for Kidd to get both of those guys focused the way they are and get them to the finals, I'll give him credit for that. Like that's huge. That's not easy to do because you see like a lot of coaches can't handle those kind of personalities, and I feel like the
Oh
Lakers
yeah.
coaches, they have to change their coach every 2 years, to feel to keep up with those personalities.
Yeah,
So
it's yeah. And yeah,
yeah,
their front office isn't great either. So
true. That's a it's a conversation maybe for another
right.
day, but
Yeah, when we're not on air.
yeah, yeah. But so what do you see? How do you see this series going?
I have it in 6, but I'll pick the Mavs.
Okay, and I mean,
And I think I just base it off of like Porzingis, right? If he doesn't play, I feel like it's going to be a much more interesting series.
right, yeah. Well,
Um,
I think he'll definitely play, but I mean, there's no guarantee he gets through the whole series. So that's the scary thing. It's like, yeah, he's gonna play, but
what
is
did
he
he
gonna hurt
hurt? His
game
knee?
one or game two? I think it was his knee, or was it
I thought it was his
hamstring or
knee
whatever.
or
I
his
think it was knee.
hamstring, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was. But either
Yeah,
way,
he's
I
got
mean,
a
7-footer, your leg injuries.
But yeah, I do think you're right. Like
Yeah, so
it is like up in the air, right? About if he can play the whole series. I mean, if he definitely
right.
can, and how he was, then yeah, it's looking a lot better for the Celtics. But yeah, I'll say Mavs in 6 just for the sake of it.
Hey, there we go. And I wouldn't be shocked by that. I think a lot of times when it comes down to like it was 2 years ago with Golden State, when it comes down to these series that I think are evenly matched, both teams are pretty even. It usually comes down, okay, well, which team has that generational player, that best player, and I love Tatum and Brown are both great players, but I think everybody would say that Luka is the best player in this series, and
Yeah,
so a lot of times
yeah,
when someone has those players, that's the difference, and so
yeah,
that could be the difference because I mean, if you look back in 2010 when the Celtics played the Lakers, I thought the Celtics had the better team, but I mean, Lakers had Kobe and Gasol was great too, but Lakers had the best player, so that was a difference there too. So I think
yeah,
it'll be interesting. I think if the Celtics can step up to the moment and really kind of play how they've played most of the season, play unselfish until hopefully the crunch time someone takes over then, but use your 6 guys to your advantage. Your 6 guys that can make a three or get 20 points any night. Like use your depth to the advantage, and
yeah,
then I think that could be real. And then use your size and length on defense to disrupt Kyrie, to disrupt Luka as well. So I think if
yeah.
they can hit those matchups and get those mismatches, I think they could really win this series. But I think it'll be a fun series. I don't think either team wins in 5. I know I've heard 5 from some people on both sides, but I
Yeah,
think it goes at
I don't
least
see it going
6.
5. I think the strategy could be the same on both sides too. Like obviously you're saying like, you know, have the Celtics defense like try and shut down one of them.
Yeah,
Try and shut down Kyrie or Luca. I mean, I don't know how great of defenders Dallas has as compared to Boston, but maybe it could work the same way if maybe they could get, you know, Brown off a game or Tatum off a game. That could
right.
maybe help them win a game or two.
Yeah. Well, it'll
Um,
be interesting to see who they put Luca and Kyrie on because Luca and Kyrie have been playing better defense, but they're not great defenders.
right.
So, like, if Luca's on like Tatum or Brown, I think they could go off.
Yeah.
And if yeah, I think if you probably put Kyrie on Derek White, he's probably the worst offensive player, even though he's had good games.
Yeah.
And then you probably put Luca on Drew. He's probably their second worst offensive player, even though I mean that's pretty good to say when Drew Holiday, like a 4 or 5 time All Star, is your second worst offensive player and your starting 5. But I think that's probably what they
Yeah.
do because I think if you put Luca on Tatum or Brown, I think they have a chance to go off on then, and that could screw up Luca on the offensive side. He's got to put more effort on the defensive side. So I think they probably put both of them on White and
And
Holiday
where
just
do you
to
think how do you think Porzingis matches up if he were to start?
So I think he maybe starts game 2. I think game 1 maybe they
Yeah.
bring him off the bench, kind of
Yeah.
ease him in a little bit.
Hmm.
But I mean they'll probably put Gaffer or Lively on there. But I think that's what could help as well because he's gonna pull them out because those guys are
Right.
good like shot blockers and good
Yeah.
down low. So I think that'll help. But Celtics just don't take advantage of that sometimes. They
Hmm.
still just jack up threes when it's like okay your biggest guy is pulled their biggest guy out of the lane, attack the lane, and they're going to be
Yeah.
the Celtics are taller almost at every position.
Yeah,
than the Mavericks are. So
yeah.
they'll have the size advantage. So they should try to take advantage of it, but we'll see. Hopefully, if they can, I think that could be huge because Tatum and Brown can finish well. They just don't do it very often with Draymond
Right,
Green.
yeah. They like
It's
to
just
hang
like
out behind
okay,
the 3-point line.
yeah. Well, and then Tatum will like dribble, and then he'll do like a fadeaway three, and it's like and he'll make a lot of them, but it's like damn, that's such a tough shot. You go to the
Yeah,
basket, you get fouled, you could finish. It's like
make it easier on yourself.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think it'll be a good series. I think 7 games are definitely on the table,
Same,
but it'll be
for
fun.
sure.
Yeah, it'll
It'll
be
definitely
fun.
be a fun one to watch for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk back and forth throughout the series. But yeah, I think it'll be a fun
Yes,
one. But so you have Mavericks in 6. I got the Celtics in 6.
Celtics
So
in
we'll see
6.
what happens there.
Yeah,
Uh, I think you're wrong, but well, I'm just kidding.
right, right.
we'll well hopefully you're wrong. I'm hoping you're wrong, but either way, I think it'll be a fun, exciting series.
We're gonna be talking all throughout the series. So
Oh, of course, of course.
yeah,
And thank you for jumping on today, Justin.
of
It's
course.
been a blast. Done about
It's always
40-ish
great to
minutes
get on
here,
here.
and so this is a Sports Talk on a Budget. You can obviously find this on any of the stations you're looking for on the podcast, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcast, or if you just prefer the video version, please like, subscribe to the show right down here on YouTube. But thank you for watching and listening, and of course, Justin, thank you for jumping on as well. And everybody have a great Sunday.